Hi, I'm Tim Scheib, husband of one, father of five, realtor, and this is Behind the Sign, episode 3. So today's topic, I wanted to talk about fear. Fear is something that I feel like it pretty much leads everybody's life, what they're going to do next in their actions. Fear has dominated my life in a number of ways, and I'm going to talk about how it actually dominates my life and why maybe that's a good thing. Fear, you look at children, for example, from the very beginning of our life, there's a certain amount of fear. And with little kids, they don't have that fear because they haven't experienced things. And what do little kids do? They grow like crazy. I've got 5 kids, and I have seen them grow and grow and grow. And as we all know, I'm not talking about like from 5 inches to 10 inches. I'm talking their mindset, their personalities. They grow so fast for that first 10 years, and then as time goes, they start to slow down a little bit. And my theory behind that is they start to learn, they start to realize what's going on to the point where they know the basics. They know the main things that happen in life. Little kids, for example, when they're 10 months old or 11 months old and they start trying to walk, they don't have that fear. They don't have far to fall. They wear a diaper, their butt's padded. They don't have to worry so much about getting hurt. So what do? They stand up. They try and walk. Every once in a while they get bumps and bruises, but it goes away. They have short memories and they forget about that. They have less fear than we do as adults. And that allows them to grow. It allows them to grow mentally and emotionally faster than others. Once they get to that point, like I was saying, when they're 12, 13, 14, 15, it starts to slow down a little bit because, they're starting to understand things, understand fear, understand if I do this, this is going to happen. So, for children, they're a prime example because they're raw. If we can look at kids every day and think, why does a toddler do this and do that, we can actually learn quite a bit from them. If you don't have fear, you can't grow. If you don't tackle fear, you can't grow either. And so one of the things that I've always tried to do is I've always tried to tackle my fears and face those fears head on. Some of the, I listen to a lot of motivational speakers and other podcasts and entrepreneurs. And one of the things that's very common amongst all of them is they have no fear. They say what they want to say. They don't care. I listen to Gary Vaynerchuk. He says the F word, he doesn't care. He'll say it to kids, he'll say it to parents, he'll say it to kids in front of their parents. He doesn't care because he speaks his truth. And look at him. People love him. I mean, he's an amazing business person. Tony Robbins, he tells people what they don't want to hear, and he doesn't fear that. And it has propelled him to stardom. All these professional motivational speakers and entrepreneurs and business leaders, they have less fear than your typical person. Now, I'm sure if you were able to break down inside, they probably do have fears. They probably have some stuff that really scare them. But they're able to jump over the top of it. They don't care. They don't care. I'm really scared of what my mom's going to think of me right now, but you know what? I'm going for it because that's who I am. And so that's a typical trait that you'll see with a lot of these professionals and a lot of these big business people. They just, I'm sure they have fear, but you wouldn't know it from the outside because they just go for it, So in my personal life, so I don't know some of these major people like personally. I don't know Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know Tom Ferry. He's a real estate coach. He's a motivational speaker to me. Tony, I don't know these guys. The people here around where I live that I know, that I've seen from high school times and up, people that I actually know them, they are the same way. There's a guy here in town that, I went to high school with. He's a smaller guy, but he's never cared. Even back when he was in high school, he was a smaller guy, but he was the first guy to get in your face. He just didn't have any fear. And he has tackled his business life in the same way. He lives his life that way. He loves to ride motorcycles all across the country. But he started a business, a very simple business, and he had no fear. He took one step further, and now I don't know how many. He's probably got 500 employees, and he's a very successful guy. So he has constantly tackled his fears. I don't know what his fears are, but I guarantee you he has some. Everybody does. It's just human nature. So I look at those people, and I look at these professional business people, and I think to myself, why can't I be that? To a certain extent, I feel like I have been very successful in real estate, but some of my fears in real estate, calling my past clients, calling my friends and family and asking them for referrals, that's a huge fear of mine. I would rather someone I know not tell me no than someone I don't know tell me no. If I don't know you and you say, you know what, I'm not interested, whatever. But if I know you and I care about you and you're like, no, I've got someone else I refer to, that crushes me. So that's a big fear that I've really struggled getting over that fear. I've been through ups and downs in the market, and one thing that is a common trait with a lot of business people who are on top is at one point they were on the bottom. They have been through the trenches. Some of them have failed financially, and you'll see those people can sometimes just bounce back and just take off. I mean, you look at some of the biggest business owners across our country, and I guarantee you probably 50% of them had some really, really difficult time financially in the beginning of their business. Probably greater than that, probably more like 90%. I was being a little conservative. But going through real estate, I relate that back to myself because real estate took a dive back in 2007, 8, and 9. I struggled financially. And that has created a fear for me. Every day, I always put the pedal to the metal. I never back off of that. If I were to back off of that, I get so scared, especially with sales and in real estate. If you take your foot off the gas a little bit, then it starts to snowball. Your foot just keeps coming off the gas. It keeps coming off the gas till eventually it's on the brake. And for me, I don't ever give up on that. I don't ever take my foot off the gas because I'm always scared to death that if I do take my foot off the gas, then we're going to go the opposite direction. When's enough? For me, enough is never enough. For that reason alone, if I take my foot off the gas, then I'm going to fail. And so I consistently keep my foot on the gas, pedal to the metal, and go full bore so that I can overcome that fear of failure. Growing up as a kid, I lived in a small town, and getting a little personal here, but I lived in a small town. I had two older brothers who were great athletes. They were, the popular kids. Everybody knew who they were. I was a young buck. I was really arrogant, really cocky. I'd get in fights, get in trouble all the time. And, I had no fear back then. I'm Mr. Popular. I had no fear. Well, in today's world, I look back at myself as a kid, and those that knew me back in my old hometown, I feel like they look at me like I'm just little Timmy. I'm a failure. I'm never going to make it. So inside of me, that burns me up. But I continue to hold on to that because those people that knew me back then, I want to show them. And I'm never going to be able to show them. But every day I tell myself, you got to show them that you can do it. And so my fear is their thoughts. My fear is them coming to me and treating me like I'm still little Timmy. I have that same thing with my family. Luckily, my mom and my dad, they never expected anything out of me. They were always supportive and always proud. But I have two older brothers, and they're quite a bit older than me. And if they watch this, which I doubt they will, but if they knew how I felt, they would probably be a little shocked. But I look at them, and I feel like they look at me like I'm little Timmy. Like he's just my little brother. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's not very smart. Whatever. Well, every day, when I try and reevaluate my business, I always think, what do they think? And I'm still their little brother. It's just like if my older brother was famous, he's still my older brother, So now I'm just still little Tim. I fight that fear every day. I fight that fear. I fight the fear of what they're judging me, which I don't think they are, but in my heart, I'm telling myself they are, so that I continue to press. Every day I continue to press. For that reason, I continue to press because I'm afraid of taking my foot off the gas. So fear in my life is a good thing. I think fear in everybody's life is a good thing. We all need to have it so that we can continue to push forward in our life. Like I said earlier, we can't get comfortable. I can't get comfortable. When a real estate agent comes to me and says, or someone comes and says they want to be a real estate agent, the first question I ask them is, do you want to be the best realtor, or do you just want to sell real estate to get by? And the reason I ask that is because my what I'm going to tell them is different based on their answer. If they say they want to be the best, then I'm going to say, all right, let's go. Here's the stuff you got to do, and you have to do it, and you have to keep doing it, and you have to be better than everybody else all the time, and you can't slow down. If someone says, I just want to sell some houses, I treat them kind, and I'll tell them, you can do it. You just got to be prepared for nothing to come in for a while, and you got to be prepared for times when you don't have much, because like I said, the way I know my business, if I take my foot off the gas, it's just going to keep coming off and eventually hit that brake, and I'm going to be done. So I have lived my life based on fear as a motivator. You have to continue to use that fear as motivation, because there's one thing I can promise you is fear is not going away. So you look at your kids and you look at your family, you look at everything that you can learn from, and you take that and you move on, you move forward, you grow. Little kid, they grow. They grow mentally extremely fast because they have no fear. I look at that business person that I knew in high school who's just crushing it out there, and I idolize him. I said, man, dude, that guy can really do it. He's never had any fear from the outside. I'm sure he does, but it doesn't slow him down. So my suggestion for everybody out there, evaluate what your fears are and see how you can make those fears motivate you to grow personally. And that's all I got for today. Fear, it's a big word. Chase it, tackle it.